Bear down, Chicago Bears. Shane Waldron coming to Chicago as the offensive coordinator. And this is one of those moments that people are already judging. People are already talking about, saying that maybe, just maybe, this is not a good sign for Justin Fields. Maybe, just maybe, this is a great sign for Justin Fields. Maybe, just maybe, this is a wonderful sign for the Chicago Bears. Nobody knows. Nobody has any idea what this means. Everybody is making an educated guess. And the reason that they're making this educated guess is because Shane Waldron is part of, you know what? Before we get to it, if you like this content, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell to be notified of future content because we are talking Chicago Bears every single day. And engage with the content certainly helps push it up in the algorithm. So make sure on the way in that you hit the like and the subscribe button. But let's get into the news now. First of all, Shane Waldron has or is being hired by the Chicago Bears. Waldron, 44, spent the past 3 seasons as Seattle's offensive coordinator. Now he's expected to land in Chicago, which owns the number one pick with a big question looming at quarterback. And you might be asking yourself at this point, what is that? What is that question? Well, the question is Caleb Williams or Justin Fields. And if you are a big fan of Justin Fields, then you have reason to be nervous, but you also have reason to be hopeful. The reason for that is Shane Waldron did wonders with both Russell Wilson and Geno Smith, reviving Geno Smith's career, giving them an opportunity to improve upon their team and their offense by virtue of being something of a quarterback whisperer. So that should be or would have reason to be for almost anybody to be super exciting. However, this is Chicago and this is the way we do. Nothing in Chicago is ever easy. So where are we at with it? Well, where we're at right now is that everybody has already started to complain, say that, this is a symbol or a sign that Caleb Williams is coming. In fact, it's starting so quickly that, I mean, the moment it happened, you had Hayden Winks come out saying Caleb Williams is working with QB Collective for training. New Bears OC Shane Waldron is a QB Collective guy. You do the math here. Now, that sounds like an ominous sort of sign if you are a fan of Justin Fields. However, let's consider this. The quarterback collective is basically a rotation of offensive minded people and offensive minded it's not the same people every single year. uh, this collective rotates every single year, so the fact that Shane Waldron happens to be there shouldn't be a symbol or a tell of anything. Now, the reason that it shouldn't be a tell is we all see the tape. We all see who Caleb Williams is. We all see what he brings to the table. We all see the tape. We all see the games. We all see what Justin Fields brings to the table. And you can make an argument that in some context, in some ways, that perhaps some people are going to like what they see from Caleb Williams better than they see from Justin Fields. It doesn't mean Shane Waldron is the same way. It doesn't mean that when we get to the scouting combine, when we get to the interviews, when we get to the real check down here from the Chicago Bears, who they're interviewing for that number one pick or whether they're going to make that number one pick, they're going to perform their due diligence and then they're going to make that decision. Everything that we do right now is pure speculation. We have no idea. Nobody here knows what's going to happen with this selection. We're just guessing about what we think is going to happen, right? So if you like the content, guys, make sure that you hit the like button on the way in. Certainly helps push me up in the algorithm. And to keep it going right now, Fansided has already come out with an article that says Bears' next OC hire shouldn't be good news for Justin Fields. The Chicago Bears are working towards a deal with Seahawks play caller Shane Waldron as their next offensive coordinator. This shouldn't be good news for Justin Fields. The reason that they're giving, At the very least, Fields has not proven to be a franchise caliber passer, and another change at offensive coordinator won't do him any good. Learning a new system, the third time Fields has done so since his entry into the NFL, if you count his rookie transition from Ohio State, will only make matters um, um, more complicated. This is absolute insanity. First of all, guys, look, it should be noted, and everybody here should at least have the wisdom to say, well, if Shane Waldron comes in, doesn't that just mean that that Caleb Williams would have to learn a new offense too? Are we not seeing that? So what we're trying to do when we do this, when we make these silly kind of comments, is that Justin Fields, for some reason, is less capable of learning a new offense than Caleb Williams might be of learning the new offense. That the experience that Justin Fields has in the NFL doing whatever it is that Justin Fields do uh, is not going to be sufficient to help him along in this process. And that is just silly nonsense. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not true. Doesn't mean that it's not true. However, head coach Matt Eberflus, and by the way, this was at the press conference, I think, last week. Uh, Obviously, you want to have somebody that's a great teacher. Head coach Matt Eberflus outlined he was looking for a new offensive coordinator, wanted to find a teacher, and Waldron can be just that for the right student, who could be Williams or it could be Justin Fields. We really don't know. Obviously, you want somebody that's a great teacher. I think it's important because he has to coach the coaches, to coach the position. And I think that the number one trait of any great coach, you have to be able to have the innovation to really look at players that you have and be able to help enhance and put those guys in positions to succeed and to get explosives and to move the ball down the field. So that right there, I think, is the most important thing, the teacher part of it, and then the innovation part of it. And the creativity, I think, that goes into it as the biggest part. Now, this applies to everything and everybody. Um, there's nothing special here about this hire that's a telling signal. I just want to preface everything with that. This is not saying that Justin Fields is gone or that he's staying. This is just a move by the team. Now, you know what is a move by the team? And that is this right here, guys. This, I think, is a big one. Chris Harris is being interviewed for defensive coordinator. We're now starting to see the team sort of develop into something more. The Hitman previously played with the Bears on 2 different stints and also was a candidate for a senior staff position last off season. So, and by the way, he is the he's the passing game coordinator on the defense right now. So for the Tennessee Titans, and this would be, I think, it is my opinion that this is going to be a big get for the Chicago Bears. This is bringing a guy home, and make no mistake, for Chris Harris, this is home right here. He loves the Chicago atmosphere. He loves the Chicago team. He's made that known to everybody. So this is going to get super exciting. He's also very familiar at Hallis Hall for multiple reasons. First and plainly, he was the hitman at safety during his first 2 stints with the Bears between the mid-2000s and early 2010s. Fans like myself surely remember his knack for being at the right time, at the right place to make the right play in critical moments. Now, does that translate into good coaching? No, it does not, but it does translate into knowledge, I think, intuition. He's also familiar with certain members of the coaching staff. Chris Harris played at safety while current quarterbacks coach and passing game coordinator John Hoke was working under Lovie Smith. The relationship between those two remains strong after all these years. Finally, perhaps the most intriguing of all is this is not the first time Matt Eberflus has scheduled an interview with Chris Harris. Just last year, the Bears kicked the tires and tried landing Chris to a still unspecified position. There have been suggestions he was considered as a candidate to potentially replace Alan Williams before they opted to retain Allen for the 2023 season. Now, Chris will have a chance to formally interview for their defensive coordinator position. Now, this is, guys, I think that this should be an exciting time. And who the hell is Shane Waldron is the question. Is he good? I'm going to say that, yes, he is. He's at least considered a decent hire for this team because he represents a guy who turned Geno Smith into the NFL Comeback Player of the Year. And Seattle's been a decent offensive team. So it's potential that he understands and recognizes the goods of what the offense can do here already. He's probably in tune with what resources he has that are available. He likes where his draft picks are, and he can probably hit the ground running and dramatically improve the Chicago Bears. That's the crazy thing here, is that he probably has that capacity right now to dramatically improve the Chicago Bears just by virtue of him being here and just being given the opportunity to lead this team. He doesn't have to do much. This team is already ready for success. They're already feeling that excitement and that surge. Now, moving on here real quick. We did have some conversation here that Cliff Kingsbury was under strong consideration. I think it should be noted at least that did not happen. Cliff Kingsbury was Caleb Williams' quarterback coach. And, of course, he was the Arizona Cardinals head coach. So there's some knowledge right there. And this is the guy who was coaching Caleb Williams. If you were sure that Caleb Williams was your guy, this would be the big move, right? But it was not the big move. For whatever reason, they decided that Shane Waldron was their guy. So that is a possibility that maybe, just maybe, we are looking at the return of Justin Fields again. And I should stress for the record, because I try to do this all the time. Before anything, I am a Chicago Bears fan. I don't care if it's Justin Fields. I don't care if it's Caleb Williams. I want success for the Bears. I boldly am predicting that the Bears are a Super Bowl contender next year. Now, when I say that, I am talking about an outlier, something along the lines of a, maybe 11-6, 12-5 sort of team that's getting into the playoffs, has a good position first year in the playoffs, could get lucky and get on a run at the right time to get into the NFC Championship game if everything starts to move right. I'm not saying that this is going to be the best team in the league or that they're going to be an incredible team. I'm thinking that they're going to be a very good team, and this is probably what's going to happen. And listen, the reason, and we started off this, by the way, we started this off because the Shane Waldron stuff is breaking news. One of the things that I was pointing out right here is, and I wanted to point this out, and I'm still going to point this out, was the Raiders. This is the Raiders getting super excited about the fact that they can get Caleb Williams. They do believe that they can trade with Chicago for this number 1 overall pick, and they also don't care because they would take Justin Fields and be super happy with what's going on. They would be happy with Justin Fields. And I think that everybody in the NFL, including veterans and pros, and look, the list right now is massive of the people who are bullish on Justin Fields. Okay. Jared Allen. Jared Allen was asked in an interview with Chase Daniel and Trey Wingo what he thought, and he says the Bears should keep Justin Fields and trade the picks. And look, there's a lot of people out here who are making these claims. A lot of players in the NFL, they understand, and here we are, by the way. And it should be noted here. A lot of us I played football when I was young. Doesn't make me a football guru, but I see the product on the field. I recognize the weaknesses of a lot of different talent on the field, just like anybody else who's doing some kind of broadcasting and analysis, right? But the players who deeply understand the game, those are the people who you should at least have the respect for, to know what they see, to understand the game in ways that we, as a more common fan, will not understand. And do you know what the players are doing right now? They are telling you and anybody who will listen that they want Justin Fields, and that has to mean something. There's something there that some of you or some of me, there's a piece here that we don't see on the field. Why does Justin Fields make the plays that he does? Why does he fumble so much? Why is that not being worked on? Why is that not made to improve? And we see pieces of this. Jalen Johnson famously gave an interview where he said that he wished that the team would practice situations, and because they don't practice situations, and that's silly. And that's weird. That's very weird, by the way. So, but what he thinks is we should be practicing, and he was talking about jet sweep, I think was the gist of it. Imagine this, if you will, that that there's a certain play or set that people really like, but you're not doing it for some reason. Make sure, by the way, on the way in, that you're hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel. That helps me out tremendously. But imagine that you're not practicing the jet sweep, and there's a team that's playing the jet sweep. So you go out and all you do is watch a little video that says, "Hey, by the way, let's do that. Let's watch a video of it." So you watch a video of it, and that's supposed to be your education. Well, Jalen Johnson said, "Look, we watch a video of it, and that's what we're supposed to. That's basically our training." That's not good if you're a team. Like, you should be practicing these moments. And he said specifically, you want to get the errors out. You want to get the mistakes. You want to go through it a couple times so that you don't make the same mistakes, or you don't make the mistakes in the game. And the Bears were not doing that. The fact that we have people coming back in that might teach people that is fantastic. And the fact that that was happening is a testament to maybe why Justin Fields was not ready for every situation and circumstance. And again, I'm not making excuses for Justin Fields. If Justin Fields is here, good. If Caleb Williams is here, good. I'm Chicago first. It's the Chicago Bears. It's not the Chicago Fields. It is Soldier Fields, I guess, but yeah, close enough. This is about Chicago and what's best for Chicago. And I think that we should at least recognize that it doesn't matter, by the way, if you did Justin Fields wrong. Okay, I do want to stress that, because it is my opinion that players, they don't owe allegiance to any team. Maybe the fan base, maybe the fan base treats you real good. You love the fan base. You get along with them famously for whatever reason. That's fine and that's fair enough. But the thing about this is the players, the good players, they don't owe anybody anything because they're just drafted by a random team. They don't have an allegiance. If they develop one, again, it should be with the fans and not with the team specifically. It's about the fans. Because look, if you suck and you're no good at it, the fans will dump on you and throw you away to the wolves anyway. So the allegiance here, really, the great players, the great players, we love those guys. We want them to be here forever. So there's a lot of people who feel like Justin Fields is one of those guys, and he's done a lot for the community. He gives his time, he gives his money, he gives his effort to the people of Chicago constantly. And that's the kind of guy that we want to see. And the fact that we don't have the production on the field yet to match that is, I think, devastating to a lot of people, but I think it improves over time. So I'm going to look, I would like to see Justin Fields here. But again, this really doesn't matter. Jared Allen, though, he's a pro, Hall of Famer. He's saying Justin Fields should be that guy. Now, I should point out that Emmanuel Acho, LaShawn McCoy, there are a lot of people out there who like Justin Fields, but don't think that he should be the quarterback in Chicago, that he should be given another chance, et cetera, et cetera. But nobody's saying that he shouldn't be in the NFL. I do want to stress that. But so we'll see what happens here. But let's move on just a little bit and let's talk about what is going on in free agency, because there is a free agency market out here. And we've got a list right here of the absolute, these are the guys that must be re-signed by the Chicago Bears, and then the ones that you could probably let go. Number one, obviously, in this context, Jalen Johnson. You got to do whatever you can to keep Jalen Johnson. Now, in this article, this is Last Word on Sports. They're saying Mercedes Lewis, it's going to be his 19th season in the NFL. There's absolutely no reason for Mercedes Lewis to continue on. I feel like it's great to have him as a run blocker in your game. He's not going to catch too many passes. He does catch. He can make that, but he's also a great he's a great blocker. So, if you're going to keep him, if he wants to, let's see what he'll do. And I think that he is one of those types of people who will sign a team friendly deal. I think he's one of the guys that we probably bring back on a cheap deal, and going to work out very well for this squad. And then Deontay Foreman. And guys, listen, I want to tell you, I really think that Deontay Foreman is a must for this team because he's like he is like a barrel just flowing through the line. He moves people back. He hits hard into the line. He pushes hard. He has incredible leg power, and he provides an amount of depth to Khalil Herbert and Roshan Johnson that we otherwise would not have. And in fact, a two-headed monster of Khalil Herbert and Deontay Foreman for one more year before Roshan kind of assumes that role. Roshan, by the way, a significant significant receiver out of the backfield, and I think that should be noted. But that's not the time for this team. That's a piece that you can add into the equation. Remember, Roshan Johnson had 32 catches, matched Darnell Mooney, by the way, in catches for the season. So there's a significant amount. You really want to keep Deontay Foreman. Now, the players to move on from, even though I'm telling you that he matched Darnell Mooney, he should not have matched Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney should have been way more available and had a whole lot more catches and did not. And listen, this is actually very prescient. What this guy's saying right here. Watching Darnell Mooney's fall this season was a travesty. The once dependable pass catcher was silent on the field this season. His inability to get in sync with Justin Fields and lack of opportunities has diminished his value to the Bears organization. It's not all Mooney's fault. A big reason for this has been the poor play calling from former offensive coordinator Luke Getsy. Seeing Mooney walk in free agency will hurt many Bears fans, but a change in scenery might be best for him. It's the same argument that we're making for and against Justin Fields, by the way. But in this situation, I think that it's very important to get him out of here because he's not providing the relief, and he won't do it for anybody. He's not going to do it for anybody. And by the way, it should be noted that Darnell Mooney put in a lot of time, a lot of effort in Miami last year to get himself into the best shape possible. Even training with Steven Smith at one point. Um, and I mean, he looked phenomenal. He was putting videos out on Instagram, like he was absolutely shredded, absolutely ripped, put on some muscle. It looked like he was the part. Still a little bit short, of course, but you can't train size, right? Well, it didn't translate onto the field. And 30 receptions, you can't have 30 receptions from your number two receiver. That's not a good combination. Of course, Cole Kmet stepped up, filled that void. And look, there is somebody in here right now saying that Justin Fields sabotaged Darnell Mooney. And you know what? That would be fair if it were true. And if it were true, then what you would have seen is you wouldn't have seen Cole Kmet with 70-something catches. You would have seen Darnell Mooney with those 70-something catches. Darnell Mooney sabotaged Darnell Mooney. It's not Justin Fields. It's you getting open and playing to the strengths of your and you might be able to blame, if you want, you might be able to blame Luke Getsy. And it would be fair to blame Luke Getsy. I mean, everybody saw the play calling on the field. But, I mean, let's face it, he didn't do enough. It's ridiculous. Justin Jones, defensive tackle. Jones has been a solid player for the Bears. He has not been a solid player in the last little while, though. The reason for letting Jones go isn't due to his ability on the field. It's because the crowded defensive tackle room, rookie Gervon Dexter, who's been great, and Zach Pickens faced limited opportunities as they were behind Jones and Andrew Billings on the depth chart. Now, this is a depth chart which did not produce any sacks coming into and pushing everyone. Look, when Montez Sweat was having a good run, and Yannick Ngakoue, by the way, before his injury, started to have some really good plays, and even DeMarcus Walker was serviceable, they were not pushing, or when they were pushing, as the pocket collapsed, they were pushing the quarterback forward. Well, Andrew Billings and Justin Jones were not picking up the sacks. And that's what their job is. You push the line, you collapse the pocket, you grab the sacks. They were not doing that. The sacks were coming from the edges. I mean, we're basically seeing it. And then we started seeing a little bit of it from Gervon Dexter because, of course, he's a rookie. So maybe, this is the time to just move on. So Andrew Billings is a 2-year extension. for midseason, so he's going to be here for a while. That leaves Justin Jones as the odd man out. So get him out, let him explore free agency, have a good career, stuff like that. Gervon Dexter, obviously looking like an upgrade, and Zach Pickens could probably grow into the role depending on who the defensive coordinator is. And in this situation, maybe the defensive coordinator, that being Chris Harris, Chicago legend, would turn the Bears into just an absolute monster of a defense. I really think that the Bears defense is going to pick up steam. And then finally, the last person on the road out is Robert Tonyan. And look, I don't want to say that Robert Tonyan turned one missed catch into a reason to get him off the team. But here we are, and Robert Tonyan dropping an open touchdown probably put the worst life. By the way, if you're coming in just now, please hit the like button on your way in and consider subscribing to the channel. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support. But the team's got to have a reliable option at tight end, and he did not represent that. To have Cole Kmet, who is your primary, with 79, I think it's 79 receptions, and to have Robert Tonyan with, I think, 18 receptions over the course of the year. That's just, he was not even a serviceable backup. And here's the thing. When you look at somebody and you're defined by this right here, which I was doing without even knowing it was in the article, but a pivotal moment that could have altered the game's outcome against the Cleveland Browns involved a beautiful deep pass from Fields to Tonyan, which unfortunately resulted in a dropped catch. Dropped catches, by the way, permeated through Darnell Mooney. Of course, it was Justin Fields' fault, obviously, according to the dude in chat here. But it's because of drop passes that, look, you're throwing the ball, you're expecting the receiver to catch it, you're expecting the receiver to make those plays, and when the receiver does not make those plays, then it makes it more difficult for your offense to move. And then the worst part is when you're getting poor play calling. You get poor play calling, you can't perform, you can't do all of the things that you need to do with or within your offense, and it's just absolutely crazy. So hopefully we're going to see a big change coming up very soon. Now let's get on to, what does it look like now in the draft? So we now have NBC Sports Chicago every day changes their mind. Ludicrous, maybe. Funny, yes. Hilarious all the time. So now Ryan Poles, this is the Bears mock draft for the NBC Chicago. And they're just making shit up along the way at this point. Okay. They're just absolutely making it up. Okay. Ryan Poles now gets Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison in this draft. Okay. So number one, the Bears pick up Caleb Williams, and then they trade. The Bears receive the number 4 pick in exchange for the number 9, 110, and the 2025 second round pick. So now we're under the impression that we're going to start giving up draft picks, which is something that Ryan Poles so far has coveted, and potentially we could if we pick up another draft pick. But I don't think that if you're not trading down on that first pick to pick up second round picks for the next season, then what is the point in giving up a second round pick? That's very important, I think, for Ryan Poles and the building process for the Bears. So I don't see this happening, but his idea is to pick up Marvin Harrison at the 4. Now, why would you pick up Marvin Harrison at the 4? Well, because you've got the Commanders, who are obviously going to need a quarterback. So you're going to be looking at Drake May. And you got the Patriots, who are probably going to be looking at Jaden Daniels, or vice versa. But it looks like Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels as the first 3 picks. So at number 4, which was the Arizona Cardinals, in desperate need of a receiver, they're going to move up, grab Marvin Harrison at the 4. And listen, does that change your outlook? Here's the question that I have to ask you. If this were to happen and you were to see something like this right here, where the Cardinals make that trade and now you have Marvin Harrison and now you have Caleb Williams, do you get excited? Are you excited about that potential right there? So, that's the question. If you are, by the way, go ahead and leave it in chat. Let me know, because it looks like, Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr., that might be a decent combo if that becomes if that becomes the combo. And listen, again, I want to state this. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I don't care whether it's Justin Fields. I don't care whether it's Caleb Williams. I do like Justin Fields. I like the potential that he represents. Justin Fields to me is one of those really potentially great players. You know, he could play the game the same way that Lamar Jackson can play the game, but he hasn't produced the results like Lamar Jackson has. Lamar Jackson is working on his second MVP, won his first MVP in his second year. However, second year, similar stats to Justin Fields, or third year, similar stats to Justin Fields in his third year as well. There is a difference, by the way. There's a difference, by the way. Justin Fields was put on a team that really has not found its footing and its way in coaching. So very complicated, very difficult there. But Lamar Jackson, fortunate enough to get on the Ravens, who Greg Roman just adapted his entire system around Lamar Jackson. And they coveted Lamar Jackson. So they built their team around him, and it's paid off tremendously. But I think that Justin Fields has every bit the running capability as Lamar Jackson, perhaps maybe not the elusiveness, but the speed and the ability downfield and the vision, I think, is pretty much the same. So it is possible that I still like Justin Fields. It's still possible that we see some kind of, and look, I would love to see what is going on in Baltimore happen here in Chicago. I think that's a testament to the run first mentality that served the Bears so well for so many years. Problem is you want to have a capable quarterback who can make the throws. And here's the other part to it. I don't think it matters if it's Justin Fields or Caleb Williams, because Caleb Williams, he can run as well. He's very elusive in the pocket, and he's got the ability to break off big runs. So either way, I really think this is going to be I think it's going to be an interesting time. But let's move on here to the last pieces here. And this is kind of funny here. Clay Harbor was asked his current thoughts on Justin Fields versus Caleb Williams. And he said, another expert here giving expert analysis and expert opinion, not just a dude in a YouTube chat crying because he doesn't like Justin Fields. He says, I believe you can change your team more by trading the number one pick. Now, that would be an upgrade of the team. That would be a tremendous move, according to Clay Harbor. He feels like the team gets better by virtue of doing this. Turbo Duran's asked the question, what about Bo Nix? So here, I guess I'll give you my take before we close that out. Like, if you don't get Caleb Williams, it doesn't matter. If you don't get Drake May, it doesn't matter. If you don't get Jaden Daniels, it doesn't matter. If you don't get Bo Nix, it doesn't matter. If you play Justin Fields on his last year of his rookie contract, and you take that one last opportunity, then that's going to be fine. And by the way, the Bears are still a playoff team with Justin Fields no matter what next year. As long as the wheels don't fall off and you've got a decent coaching staff that with a good defense, stopping people. And I do think that, by the way, Tyreek Stevenson, Jalen Johnson, Jaquan Brisker, they're only going to get better. Tremaine Edwards, TJ Edwards, both still young, still just going to get better. Montez Sweat, still going to get better. Gervon Dexter, obviously, and Zach Pickens, obviously, these guys are going to get better. You would like to get a defensive end, an edge rusher in the draft, but you can still pick one up. And then you look at the offense, probably Connor Williams becomes your guy that you're going to pursue in free agency because you want to shore up that center. That ACL injury you got to make sure is okay. But there's a lot of holes that are going to be filled. And remember, and by the way, remember, CJ Stroud is an inferior guy to Justin Fields, despite what some donkeys might be saying out there in the real world. CJ Stroud had a phenomenal year. However, in every measure in the same system, he was an inferior quarterback to Justin Fields in every way. In every way for Ohio State, playing the same position, using the same coaching staff, he was an inferior guy. So just consider, if you will, that perhaps Justin Fields was underserved by the coaching staff here. So, yeah, so we'll see what happens. But Clay Harbor saying that, he thinks that you're going to get better. Now, here's what does matter, by the way, the players. What do the players think? Jaquan Brisker with the "That's my quarterback," letting you know, and this is Justin Fields out here doing his training preparation, etc. And then also you have this over here, by the way, and I just got to shout out Jaquan Brisker for this one. As soon as the Green Bay Packers threw the interception, he didn't even wait until the end of the game. Turks or Cancun, he was already roasting on the Green Bay Packers for not getting into the playoffs. It's just fantastic to see that. And guys, look, this is the kind of rivalry thing that we've not been seeing from the Chicago Bears that we did see from the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers saying "I own you" and stuff like that. Like, now we have, or we should be at least have reason to think we now have a rivalry again. And look, I got to be honest with you, we've got to win some games first. Like, we can't just say, well, we got the Packers number until we actually take the card. So it's going to take a moment before we see something like that play out. We got to wait until next year. And we're going to have to play the Packers, and we're going to have to beat the Packers. We're going to have to beat up on Jordan Love. We're going to have to show them, quote unquote, who's boss. So, we'll see how this plays out. But to see to see the Chicago Bears absolutely dunking on the Green Bay Packers, even if it was not in victory, is a good sight to see. That's exactly that's the type of passion that you want from your football team. So I feel like that we are in a much better position, at least mentally, if we get a few more people involved here. No hate, by the way, but if we get a few more people involved here and we turn this into something more than it is, then that's going to be fantastic. And now let's get into the chat here, because I know we've got the Ghost of Judah tribe just crying about he doesn't like Justin Fields. And you know what? It's kind of funny. Stroud got as many wins as Bustin Fields in 1 year than this bum has in 3 years. And that is absolutely true. That is, and look, even if you don't like it, you have to acknowledge that CJ Stroud came out and had a much better season overall than Caleb Williams. I mean, almost in every way. So it can't be understated that Justin Fields did not perform up to that level. And look, we can make all the arguments that Luke Getsy was the problem that we want, but I mean, until you see the product on the field do what it's supposed to do, when it's supposed to do it, and perform to the level, there's so many different instances, guys. And I'll go back to I think that when it was the Detroit Lions game, I think it's important to point out there are pieces in here that are missing. If you go back to that first Detroit Lions game where we're up 2 touchdowns with 4 minutes and 54 seconds to go, and they score 2 touchdowns, and then we have the opportunity. We have the opportunity to take the ball downfield, just field goal wins the game, right? We have the opportunity. That's all you can ask for, the opportunity. What happens to the team? Very first play, Justin Fields doesn't see a front side rush. It's in his eyes. Doesn't see a front side rush coming. Gets hit, loses the ball, and they score safety to win that game. That's a testament to problems. So, we're going to have to recognize that there are some difficulties and some issues with this Chicago Bears team that we're going to have to address and we're going to have to come to grips with before we can do anything. Justin Fields is going to have to figure some stuff out if he's going to continue being the quarterback. And look, there's going to be people. By the way, remember, the Ghost of Judah tribe, even though he's in here crying about Justin Fields potentially becoming the quarterback, 20% of Chicago Bears feel the same way that Ghost of Judah does. 20% of fans, no percent of players, but 20% of fans believe that Justin Fields' time is up and that he should move on. So, we should at least recognize that, at least 20% um, don't like Justin Fields. So, you poor guys, I know it sucks. And by the way, again, I Detroit versus everybody, guys. Shout out to Detroit and David Montgomery. Look at guys. I want to tell you, I miss David Montgomery every single day. There was a question that came up on Twitter, and I wanted to say David Montgomery, no questions asked about who is your favorite. It said you can't pick Gale Sayers, you can't pick Walter Payton, you can't pick Matt Forte. Who is your favorite Chicago Bears running back? And I wanted to say David Montgomery, no questions asked, because I used to love the way he ran the ball. And did you guys see it last night where he was pushing? He was pushing that line when it mattered. He was moving that ball. He was finding holes. He was creating seams. He was giving Detroit their win. And shout out to Detroit, Detroit Lions for so many years. For so many years have been the vanilla ice of the NFL, and now they get to be the M&M finally. You know what I mean? NFC Championship game next week, going to be a really good, a really good opportunity. All right. Bro, what are you smoking? LOL. Do you even watch football? I don't know who he's talking to. Trade Justin Fields to the Las Vegas Raiders for Max Crosby. When Justin is traded, go find a new home with him, which, hey, anybody is welcome to, by the way. And we can weed out this fan base of you bromance fanboy idiots. All right. So, we're gonna put Judah in timeout. When you start calling people idiots, that's going to be where we're going to draw the line. I apologize to anybody for Judah Tribe here if he's disrespecting you. But we're going to mute him for a few minutes. He'll be back, I think, in 5 minutes or something like that. But guys, don't call each other idiots. I mean, and we can disagree. We should all be able to at least agree that we are Chicago Bears fans. It doesn't make sense for me to say that you are a Justin Fields fan over being a Chicago Bears fan. So, and I think that we should all at least agree that we want what's best for the Chicago Bears. We don't always agree with how we get there, but um, we should absolutely be looking for the betterment of the team. So let's move on to there. I could almost guarantee that 20% that don't like Justin Fields have never played a snap of football in their whole life and don't understand what poor coaching and bad offensive line can impact quarterback. That is absolutely right, 100%. Again, and Jose, we do have to be honest. There are pieces that are missing from Justin Fields' game that we haven't yet seen, or the pieces have not been developed and made whole in his game that we would like to see. But yeah, you see, and here's the thing: you see the lack of adjustment on the field. You see the conservative play calling in the fourth quarter. You see that there are pieces here. Justin Fields averages his first first half quarterback rating is like a 96. So it's like a 121 or 112 in the first quarter, 96.4 or something like that in the second quarter. No, 89.4 in the second quarter, and then 96.4 in the third quarter, and then it falls to 58.3 when you get into your conservative play calling. And I don't think that that's fair to the team. I think that I think that he was underserved in the coaching, and I hope that it gets way better. So Big Brother says, I am so happy for David Montgomery because we didn't know what to do with him. And you know what? We knew what to do with him. We just knew we weren't going to pay him for what he can do, which seems silly to me. But hey, Deontay Foreman, incredible year. Khalil Herbert, what a great year he's had. Roshan Johnson, what a fine Roshan Johnson has been. None of that, or a limited amount of that, would have happened without David Montgomery moving on to another team. So thank David Montgomery certainly for his time, but I think we found some gems out of the current rotation. So I mean, you're all entitled to your opinions, but please stop with the lazy commentary. Max Crosby not leaving Antonio Pierce? No, maybe not. Absolutely oblivious if you think polls will pass on Caleb after the success of Stroud. and bet your future on a failing quarterback he didn't draft. But here's the nonsense to it. Everybody in the NFL passes on somebody, and again, CJ Stroud was not a better quarterback. By the way, if your argument for CJ Stroud is, well, the Houston Texans were better. Well, the Houston Texans were a better coach team. But CJ Stroud being coached by Ryan Day, Justin Fields being coached by Ryan Day, Justin Fields was the superior quarterback by a mile. So, and by the way, CJ Stroud had Marvin Harrison Jr. So to say that there's not, I mean, there's literally a comparison that you can make. It's the same coaching staffs with two different players who perform better, and it was Justin Fields, and it wasn't even close. So we got to at least be able to acknowledge that there's some questions about some of this, right? Jose Gonzalez agree. Judah being Judah, that man gets banned from every chat room. Put Judah in the corner. He's in the corner right now. He'll be out pretty soon, though. Thank you so much, Turbo. I appreciate you. JF1 is our quarterback, and Waldron will put him in place to succeed. If he does, that's going to be great for the team. If they do, if they don't, it doesn't matter. It's all about the Bears, right? It's all about the Chicago Bears. It's not about all of the rest of this stuff. We want the Bears to succeed, and we want the best person in place to do that. I happen to think that Justin Fields is a great player that was underutilized, but I don't have a problem with Caleb Williams. So using personal insults are a sign of weakness. Keep Justin for what? For quarterbacking. The Bears won't pick Williams because it's too obvious thing to do and makes sense. The Bears and their fan base have settled for mediocrity for decades. I mean, that's a fair enough comment. I don't know. So Jordan Love may be the best quarterback in the NFC, and most of you are content with sticking with Justin Fields. God damn it. Whew. You can't. Fuck my life. Yeah. Make sure everyone. Thank you. I appreciate that, Turbo. Doesn't mean we've been successful with any other team. Congratulations to the Detroit Lions. Agree with Larry Lapper. I'm not as concerned with the quarterback situation as most. I wanted Harbaugh to be coaching, and I wanted Marvin Harrison to be wide receiver one. Larry says, "Are you serious? Harrison Jr. hasn't played in the pros yet. Fields wide receivers have Olave, Garrett, Wilson, etc." You're saying and Larry, you're saying what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you had Justin Fields coached by Ryan Day at Ohio State. You had CJ Stroud coached by Ryan Day at Ohio State. You literally have the same team, the same coach, the same system, the same situation. You have a perfect comparison of an apples to apples scenario, and Justin Fields is the superior athlete. If your argument now is, well, CJ Stroud with an entirely different coaching staff and Justin Fields with an entirely different coaching staff in 3 years of Luke Getsy or 2 years of Luke Getsy not making any adjustments in the play calling and playing a conservative game at the end of the game in order to lose games constantly. If you're saying that that's a more fair comparison, I'm sorry, it's not. It's not. There's no method. There's no logic to the fact that you would think that. So I disagree wholeheartedly. However, that doesn't mean that I think CJ Stroud is a worse quarterback. I'm saying an apples to apples, this quarterback, same team, same system, same head coach, two different results, with one being superior. That is true. But again, I'm not saying that CJ Stroud is not a better quarterback. I'm saying that in the same scenario, Justin Fields was the better quarterback. Moving on from Fields and picking Williams is a lateral decision. Well, it's not a lateral decision because you have to pay Fields $6 million next year. You have to pay Caleb Williams $9 million if you draft him, but you get Caleb Williams for 4 years at $9 million. And then Justin Fields, you got $6 million. And then next year, you're gonna have to give him at least 25, 29.3 if he makes a Pro Bowl. So you're going to be paying a lot more for Justin Fields, and then you have to re-sign him for like $40 million a year. So you better make sure that Justin Fields is the number one guy and that he's a $40 million quarterback. And by the way, every quarterback is a $40 million quarterback in this league. So when I say that, I'm not saying that he has to be worth more than anybody else, but that is the market for quarterbacks. So, you should be pretty sure. You should be pretty sure about what's going on. Um, Justin is staying put. Get mad all you want. If the coaches and the players tell you on the media sites how Justin is the guy, then no one cares about your hate. How about offensive line? Help for Justin Fields. Give him one more year, no excuses. Well, the argument for that and the argument against that is number one, if you give Justin Fields one more year, you're passing up on Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels. However, when you look at next year, Shadur Sanders becomes the guy. The question is, can you get Shadur Sanders? Shadur Sanders grades out at, I think on pro websites, he grades out at a 92. Caleb Williams grades out at a 93. And Shadur Sanders grades out better than Drake May. He grades out better than Jaden Daniels, but and then Eric Wallach is also available, and then Arch Manning is coming along. So there you've got options. You don't have to take Caleb Williams. If you say that Caleb Williams is a generational talent, everybody in the draft is a generational talent. To everybody who's like, if you're a talking head and you're doing stuff like I'm doing right now, then that's what you're saying. And that's what, if you like Caleb Williams, that's what you're telling everybody. You're telling him it's a generational talent. Is he a generational talent? I don't know. I know that he's a good talent. I know that he's a decent player. I know that in the Lincoln Riley system, he looks like a star, but everybody looks like a star. Everybody looks like a star in the Lincoln Riley system. It doesn't mean that they are. Now, when I say that, we should also recognize that Baker Mayfield throwing the interception at the end of the game. Look, we can joke about Baker Mayfield throwing the interception at the game, at the end of the game, et cetera, but he got that team one step away from the NFC Championship, a 9-8 team. So maybe Lincoln Riley, there's something to the Lincoln Riley system, and it makes quarterbacks ready for the NFL. There is an argument to be made for that. So who knows? Um, the Bears do need help at the offensive line. Well, so and let me be devil's advocate here. I think here's what I think. What I think, and I hope that this is going to be fair for Ghost of Judah Tribe, to say that even with a great offensive line, the question is whether Justin Fields is better than Caleb Williams or some other quarterbacks in the league, and it could be that he's just not. You know what I mean? Like, I love Justin Fields. I love the passion that he's got. I've seen the plays. We've got the game tape. We see the incredible plays, but we also should see how poorly he does when he's fumbling the ball or when he's missing throws. Like, we have to at least be honest and say, not all of this is on the coaches. Some of this is on Justin, and we can blame development on coaches. We can say, we could say that, but we do have to recognize the good and the bad. Now, I accept that bad, and I think that Justin Fields should be the guy. And I think that even if Justin Fields or Caleb Williams, and if you bring in Caleb Williams, by the way, Tyson Bagent becomes your starter for the beginning of the year, most probably. So yeah, I so and I don't have a problem with Tyson Bagent, by the way. I enjoyed what I saw. He makes quick decisions. He makes quick reads. It's a very different thing for a man to come into the NFL and go from playing against Division II defenses to NFL defenses. So I think he got shocked by that, and we saw a testament to his arm strength is not very good. He's got a, and he'll only increase it so much, by the way. But he will be serviceable. And you know what? The Bears probably win games with Tyson Bagent. He'll make some mistakes. He'll make some more rookie mistakes. But if worse comes to worse, and Justin Fields is out, and Tyson Bagent starts the season, then I think the Bears are still going to be fine. And then you're going to have to. The problem is you're going to have to deal with mistakes, right? And the question becomes: are you playing to keep your job, or are you playing to lose? Now, if that is the case, then you have to understand Tyson Bagent, unless you go out and get a free agent quarterback, by the way. Tyson Bagent is your guy, or you can hold on to Justin Fields for the year and just pay both quarterbacks. But, I mean, you do have options. Weird options, but options. So if you do all of that, then you're bringing along Caleb Williams, and, you're going to have to deal with his growing pains, and he's not going to take you to the Super Bowl. And I'm not, by the way, saying that Justin Fields is going to take you to the Super Bowl either. But Justin Fields will get you to the playoffs. I mean, you have to at least consider this. The Bears ended up 7-10, but if the Bears had won the 5 games that they were very close, and by the way, when you get close in these games, you do tend to win those games. If you lose them the year before, like we did, you do tend to win them the next year because the luck of the draw kind of favors you because now you're familiar with it. So in the event that we have 5 close games this year, I expect us to win those games. That makes the Chicago Bears a 12-5 team instead of a 7-10 team. That's how close the Bears were to success. And if the Bears had just split and won 2 of those games, then the Green Bay Packers would not have been in the playoffs. The Bears would have been. So, at least consider here that, or 3 games. I'm sorry, if they won 3 of those 5 games, that they were leading in the fourth quarter. If they had done that, then the Green Bay Packers wouldn't even have made the playoffs, and we would be having a conversation, and we would be saying, "Hey, you know what? Maybe Ghost of Judah is right. Kevin Love. Oh my God, I just called him Kevin Love. Jordan Love. Maybe he was a better quarterback, but guess what? He didn't make the playoffs. But because the situation is reversed, this is what we're saying. So, you know, we'll see how this all plays out, and I appreciate it. And guys, look, I don't care if you don't like. And by the way, I will say this: I said the same thing about Tyson Bagent at about the midpoint of the season. At the beginning of the season, I said the Bears were not going to be very good, and as the season goes on, they're going to get better and better and better. And they did close out 5-3. Ended up having a much better closeout to their season, and started to put together some wins. Tyson Bagent, however, was a pretty good. Tyson Bagent was a pretty good option. Now he got figured out by defenses very quickly because he had a very weak arm, but he makes quick reads, and as long as you give him good play calling, which obviously Luke Getsy could not do, then you've got a winner. I think, at least my opinion. So I thought he was making better throws. I thought he would progress more. But also, by the way, I should point out that he had 5 interceptions in, I want to say, 4 games. Um, yeah, 5 interceptions or 6 interceptions in 4 games. So he was giving the ball away quite a bit. So he's not he's not that much better of an option. There we go. Jay says 5 interceptions. He had 5 interceptions. So and this right here would be fair, right? Tyson Bagent reads defenses, and pre-snap knew what he was doing. And yes, when he gets better, the knock against Tyson Bagent shouldn't be a knock anymore. It'll have to be like seasoning and purpose. But if Tyson Bagent takes over this offense for any length of time, I do think that they're going to be just fine. I think play calling is going to get way better because Luke Getsy's gone. And look, I can't understate how bad Luke Getsy was. I do hope, by the way, that Chase Daniels comes in as the quarterbacks coach. That would be phenomenal. Could you imagine a team with Chase Daniels as your quarterback coach and Shane Waldron as your offensive coordinator coming together to try to work on a team like that? Would be just a fantastic outcome for the Chicago Bears. And then you get Chris Harris as defensive coordinator. And look, I don't know if Chris Harris is qualified to be the defensive coordinator. I'd like to think that he is. He seems to have the passion. It would be, it seems like there is some opportunity there. So it would be incredible. It would be incredible. And Elliot, no, Justin is our QB1. Put him in the right system. Stroud was put in the right system. Love was in the right system. Plus, he sat behind Rodgers for 4 years. And yes, I mean that's here we go. This is where you're not playing with a full deck here. When you say Getsy was fine, it's no. Okay, all right. That's insanity. That is absolute insanity. Oh my God, he's got to go back in timeout. You can't say that to people who can read. Getsy was not fine. There was nothing about Getsy that was fine, unless the beginning play calling, the beginning play calling, the scripted plays, those were okay. I really don't have a knock against. I don't really have a knock against Luke Getsy for his scripted play calling. It's when you got beyond those first 15 plays that, I mean, guys, there's nothing more silly then when you look at the final game of the season, the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers, and Justin Fields goes 6 for 6 on his first 6 passes in the first quarter, by the way. And then for the rest of the game, he only throws the ball 10 more times. Just think about that. Just think about that. So we'll see. So anyway, all right, guys, that's my time. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is time to get out of here. I hope you guys have a great day. If you haven't before, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button on the way out. I appreciate each and every one of you that you took the time to come in and check me out today. We're going to be doing this every day at 9:30 a.m. So I appreciate each and every one of you, and bear down.